Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about Season 2, Episode 1, the premiere of Stargirl, titled Summer School, Chapter 1. Yes, finally, Stargirl is back. Thank you, God. I am so happy. This is literally my favorite CW verse, which is now what they call in the Arrowverse show. Which technically, I guess you could still call this a CW show because like originally it was supposed to be on HBO Max and the first episode, the first season aired there, but then everything else aired on the CW. Why they passed on it, I really don't know. But it is literally now my favorite new show. I just love it to death. The first season has such great characters, such great acting, action. My God, the action was hardcore on that show. Like, I still remember when Courtney busts through Cindy's window and just started whooping on her. And when the second season was going to be officially on the CW, I was worried because I was afraid the show might have got CW'd. Did it? A little. Only a little. It got CW in terms of a very, very, very slow pace. Little to no action. And a little too much drama. But I did enjoy the drama here because there was some nice character development. Now, I missed about 5 minutes of this. But I was able to catch enough to get, the gist of what's going on and everything. Pretty much everything is starting off where it left off last season. School is about to end and summer is about to begin. And everybody is still going through the motions of what happened last season in that huge climactic battle. My God, that was an action sequence. People on Legends need to pay attention to that. It was good and stuff. And so many villains died. My God, I couldn't believe it. Now, one really cool thing that started off in this episode was the dude who's like inside the little gym. He takes possession of like little kids and stuff. And he took possession of this little girl. He made her steal. And then he taunts her after that. And the scene is so creepy. And I love the way it's lit. It's kind of like a grayish filter to it. It really sets the mood. And so like this little girl, she's contemplating, but she steals the gift anyway. And he's all like, oh, you did a bad thing, blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, his face turns like demonic. And then when the mom goes looking for her, she's looking, and she turns around. And then she couldn't quite realize what she's seeing. And then she just starts hollering and screaming. It's her dead little girl. So how exactly is her body mangled and dead? We don't know because they don't show us. But because the mom turned around and looked for a long time and she wasn't quite sure what she was looking at, I'm pretty sure that little girl got extremely mangled and stuff. So this episode was very, 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 very slow paced. And it was all about emotions of like I said, what happened last season. So each character is just like reeling from what happened. Whoa. So, my bad. It's the wind's kicking up outside like a tornado or something, or a storm. It made a weird like whistling noise. Anyway, so Courtney, she is full blown in superhero mode. All she can think about is wanting to suit up and, go to the streets and stuff. Now, I missed, like I said, the first 5 minutes. I'm not sure if she was doing any action type stuff, but I did see her in her costume with her clothes on top. And she was talking to Pat. And Pat was pretty much telling her, you need a life outside of Stargirl. And all she could think about is being a hero. And she also says that the staff is still glowing up. And the staff only glows when it's time to get into action. So she feels something is like coming or something is happening and she needs to always be out in the streets to take care of stuff. Which I appreciate that. Batman will appreciate that as well. That's very heroic of her. But yeah, it is kind of interesting to see because, she is a teenage girl in high school and she wants to take on the responsibilities of being a hero. And you have to be able to balance both. And that's one thing I always found interesting and kind of odd putting about Robin, well, all the Robins, is like they're all kids and they're all in, some of them are teenagers, and yet they still are able to balance a normal life during the day, go to school, hang out with their friends during the day, but then at night, they're, outside fighting crime and stuff. And it's like, how do they balance? Well, we find out how Courtney is balancing things out. Not very well. She is doing extremely terrible in school to the point where she's failing multiple classes. And she's constantly like agitated, ready to get out in the streets and stuff. Another thing she's very agitated about is the children of the Injustice League or Injustice Society. And because she knows now who they are, and she's constantly like worried that some of them might want revenge because a lot of them have been taken in. Like Artemis' parents have been now in jail. Some of the other parents are dead. And so at one point, she's at the cafeteria and she's hanging out with her friends and she sees Artemis. Artemis is talking about how her parents are arrested for some type of robbery years ago, but of course she doesn't really know what they've been doing. Then she says something that catches Courtney's attention. She turns around sharply at Courtney and looks at her. I think she calls her like a punk or something like that. I can't remember what. And she takes her hockey stick and she is literally about to lunge at Courtney. Courtney goes into hero mode and takes Artemis down. This is Artemis we're talking about. And in the first season, we didn't see much of Artemis. But she's very intense and she's really good at sports and she could take down a grown, like, teenage boy. And Courtney took her down with ease. And then, Artemis is just kind of like, what the heck are you doing? She's all like, I was just going to give what's-his-face his hockey stick back. But it didn't look that way. So either Artemis is lying or it's just, the direction of the camera person and the director. So the principal comes in, takes her in, calls her parents. And he informs Courtney and the parents that she's doing terrible in school. And now she is about to fail. And this ruins her parents' summer plans. They were supposed to go on vacation. Now they can't because she has to go to summer school. And it's like her life, she is unable to balance superhero-ness and her everyday life. And now it's affecting her parents to where now they're arguing and stuff. And it's really interesting to see because you really never see that in other medium, probably except for comic books, but you never see that in animation because animation has to be like fast paced and stuff. So I do appreciate that a lot, seeing that. So I just rewatched the scene now that I missed, and yeah, so the beginning part did start off with them patrolling the streets. I know I saw that in the trailer, so I didn't know why I didn't see it in the episode. But yeah, it's basically she's gung-ho on like patrolling the streets while the other members are all kind of like, yo, the Injustice Society, they're like gone, they're done, and we should like retire and just live our lives and blah, blah, and stuff like that. So it is interesting to see the team kind of like divided because you have the leader who wants to constantly go out and patrol and everybody else is kind of like just want to do their own thing and just like live their lives, Yolanda, one of my favorites from last season. The girl is looking nice. Now, this is the cool thing. She's an adult in real life, but she's playing a teenager just like everybody else. And, the people here actually look like teenagers. They actually got short people, and they're dressing like normal teenagers do. And so she is still reeling from murdering Brainwave from last season. She cannot shake that feeling. It's something that's interesting. I remember when I was watching on the review from Pagey, he was talking about Yolanda might just be like, blur the lines into like evil and stuff because she was about to kill Brainwave's son when he leaked those news of her. So that's something I've always like paid attention to when it came to her. But for the most part, she was just a heroic person. And until she murdered Brainwave. She's constantly going to church. She's constantly just sitting down that little place where you give confessions and stuff. And the pastor's always asking her, are you ready to now confess? And she cries and literally just tells him no. She just wants to sit there like always. She can't bring herself forward to say what she did. Like, she knows what she did, but admitting it will be even more painful and stuff because she's not a murderer. But she is a type of person that does want revenge, but she is a true sweetheart of a person. So her mind is constantly in conflict with that. And then you start to hear Brainwave's voice in her head. She is freaking out, like freaking out. And then when she talks to Courtney about it, I truly believe that either she's just freaking out because she's just freaking out, or Brainwave left a little bit of residual traces in her brain of himself. He could be stored away in her brain for all we know, but we don't know because it's only the first episode. One thing Courtney is doing is that she feels very sorry for Icicle Jr. because it's kind of like, you know, the dude lost his dad, but he doesn't know exactly how. He doesn't even know his dad's evil. And Yolanda is literally telling Courtney, leave this dude alone, because if he figures out who you are, figures out what his dad did, and figures out that his dad is now dead as a result of her, he's probably gonna kill her and stuff. And then we see the creepy old grandparents. They're still speaking in their native tongue. I don't know if that's German or what, but the grandmother does not like Courtney at all. But the granddad dude, he just wants, you know, the Icicle Jr. dude to just be like happy and stuff. But yeah, that old couple, I have a feeling they're gonna do something terrible this season. Like, I've always got that vibe from them. Now we see Pat. Pat's pretty much just doing what he always does. He lectures Courtney, he tries to make her a better person, he tells her to give up the staff, you know, stuff like that. And he hired an assistant to take care of the garage. And the assistant is a very nosy person who goes in his special room and finds the striped suit. And it's just, or stripey, or whatever you call it. And it's just kind of like the dude is just like not phased. He's like, you're building something special, and blah 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 blah. And it has all these missiles, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, where have you been? You live in a world with superheroes and supervillains, and you see a giant mech suit. Doesn't that ring some bells that he might either be a hero or a villain? And it's like, does he not ever watch the news? So it's like, I don't know who this dude is. He might be from the comic books, he might not. I'm unfamiliar because I don't read comics. Now we see Sylvester in this episode as well, because we saw him at the end of last season. Somehow this dude is still alive. How? Like, I don't know. But he's looking for Pat, and we all know why he's looking for Pat. He wants his staff back, and he's able to track down Pat's ex-wife, played by Alicia Witt, I believe her name is. It's nice to see her in roles again. And so, yeah, he's trying to track him down. Now, we see Beth in this, and when we see her at school, before Courtney got in trouble, Beth is just kind of like out of the zone because Beth is missing Chuck. And then we see a scene of her at her house, and she's fixing dinner. She has the house, the dinner table all plated. But here's the strange thing. It's only plated for two. It's only plated for her and her mom. We know she has a dad. What happened to her dad? I have no idea. Maybe they explain it in 5 minutes I missed, but I don't know. But anyway, so she's there, and she's all happy and excited. And we see her at an empty table by herself, eating by herself. Well, she's not even really eating. She's just sad and depressed. And then all of a sudden, Chuck reactivates. Now, he got smashed in the last season. And the thing about her and Chuck is that she has no friends whatsoever in the first season. She's constantly having to eat lunch at school with her parents via video chat. And it's pretty sad and it's pretty pathetic. And it's just like, you know, you feel for those type of people. You know, at some point in time, you know, you either knew somebody or you was that person who sat by themselves at the lunch table. And then, you know, she would sit at the outcast table with Yolanda and Rick. And that later on when Courtney joined. So anyway, now she has friends. She has JSA now. And so Chuck reactivates, and he's kind of out of it. It's kind of like he completely 100% rebooted and has no memory of nothing whatsoever. So she's talking to him, and she tells him like who she is. He doesn't remember her, and he shuts off thinking she might be like an enemy or something. She's desperately calling for him to come back, but he won't. And it's and then she just gets really like sad, and it's really traumatizing to see her like this, you know, because the girl, even though she does have physical friends now, she loves Chuck to death because he is somebody who she can always constantly talk to 24/7, and he's always willing to talk to her. It's almost like sometimes she thinks of him more as a friend and thinks of him more kind of like she's in love with him or something like that. But it's just so sad to like see that. So I just rewatched this scene where I missed, and yeah, now I know why that there was only 2 plates set for the table. Her parents are divorcing. You know, I gotta say, I really don't feel nothing for the parents because it's kind of like they really wasn't shown that much last season, maybe like once in the entirety. And so it's really nothing for me to like grab onto and feel like sympathetic for them. But I do feel sympathetic for Beth because her parents are originally her only first best friends and stuff. And so with her barely having any friends and her whatever relationship she has with the artificial intelligence, Chuck, it's kind of like, you know, her whole world is kind of coming apart. Even her superhero team is kind of coming apart, but you know they're going to come back together at some point. And then there's Rick. Rick is tracking down Solomon Grundy. Grundy in the first season, we found out, murdered his parents. If it turned out that he was being controlled by a brainwave. Now, you know, Solomon Grundy is a zombie. And sometimes he has a little bit of intelligence. Sometimes, lately in a lot of DC animated stuff, he's just been like a complete mindless idiot who just keeps saying Solomon Grundy was born on a Monday, and that's about it. The Justice League cartoon, he talked a little bit more, but he was stupid. They're kind of making him into like the Hulk, the way the Hulk used to be, like older, back in the old days, you know, not knowing much and being really like mentally inept. Anyway, so he's tracking Grundy down. He's feeling sorry for Grundy to the point where we see him leave him 3 buckets of fried chicken. And it's kind of weird because it's kind of like, we know in the first season this dude hated Grundy, but when he started wailing on him and he was actually winning to the point where he was going to kill Grundy, he stopped last season and just let him go, and he almost had like a nervous breakdown. He let him go, and I never truly understood that. It's like all of a sudden now, in that one moment, he had an epiphany, but he never had it before, and all he wanted to do was murder the dude. So this is going to be kind of an interesting situation. It's nice to see that touching side, but it just comes out of nowhere, and I really don't like where that angle is going. Now, in terms of his social life, he's doing bad in school as well, to the point where he doesn't even care if he gets suspended. You know, truly, I don't know if he's really doing bad in school because he said he passed the test. And even the teacher says he passed the test because he studied, he said. But the teacher said that the tests or the answers are from like last year, and she feels as though he like copied or memorized like an old test or something like that. And it's really interesting because he has this scene where he's really frustrated. So I think he probably really did study and pass, but who really knows, you know? But then he kind of like blurts out that, you know, he saved that woman's life and he saved everybody's life. And he just wants this lady to get off his back to the point where he really just doesn't care what happens to him at school and stuff. And it's kind of like, you know, he's one of those troubled youths from last season that where people just dump on him and they always think he's like this bad guy, so he portrays like that persona and stuff. But then it turns out he is actually a pretty nice guy. So it is kind of sucky to get dumped on a lot when you know you're not really all that bad and stuff. Now towards the end, this is when things start to kick up. Finally, we get some action. Basically this, if you watch the trailer for season 2, the whole episode is basically the trailer. And so the staff lights up, but first Courtney is going through some files of the ISA, and then the staff lights up. She goes around her house, she hears a noise, and there we see somebody has the green lantern, and it's Jade, and she just straight up, I think it's Jade, that's her name, wait, the female green lantern, she just attacks Courtney with the staff, and Courtney of course is ready. It's an awesome fight scene. It's slightly CW-ish in terms of over choreographed, but it's still nice. There's some nice blasting action from both sides. They do this kind of like thing with the camera work where it's a faraway distance and all you see is like the corner of a hall and it's blocked off and you don't see them fighting, but you see somebody getting tossed to the other side. I like that. That's nice visuals right there. And Courtney, this is what's interesting about Courtney, even from last season. From last season, when she would attack somebody, the staff would mostly just take over and start blasting people to where it almost kills them or put them in a coma. This time is Courtney doing it. Courtney has no like filter, no off button, no nothing, no safeguard, no nothing. She straight up blasts this girl head on. And I'm just like, dude, you could seriously put this girl in a coma like you did what's his face last season. But she don't care because she is hardcore now. And that's what I like. That's how Courtney, that's how I remember Courtney from the Justice League cartoon series. I never read the comic books, but from what I've heard, you know, Courtney's always been an extremely stubborn, headstrong girl to where Pat literally has to pull her back. You know, she just goes like full throttle in and she never thinks. And it's nice to see that come into fruition in live action. So then, of course, the family shows up and she reveals that she's Green Lantern's daughter and everything. So then we see Cindy. She is going to the school and she's going into the secret little bunker place where the ISA hides out at. And she's going through some files. She's about to form her very own ISA out of teens, similar to what Courtney did last season with the JSA. She formed her own teen version. And she's going through all the files and she rips up Brainwave's son because, you know, he's dead. And she keeps all the other kids from the parents from last season. And one more interesting thing. She has a picture of Courtney's little brother. And I'm just like, I wonder why. Now, Boba said something about that last couple of months ago. And I forgot what he said, but the brother's supposed to play some type of part because of something. I think in the trailer, the brother has, I think, a lamp or something like that. And this little pink person comes out of it. It's like a hero dude. And I think they're supposed to be like partners and stuff. And I guess she's going to try to turn him into evil or something like that. And of course, it's the dude from inside the little gym that she keeps talking to. The evil dude. And so that's basically what happened in like the entire episode. It really wasn't much of anything. It was just like a lot of emotion and baggage from like last season and stuff. And like I said before, if you ever watched the trailer for season 2, that's pretty much the entire episode. So I can't wait to see more episodes. I hope it doesn't get CW'd. I truly don't, because I really love Stargirl. I've liked her ever since I saw her in that Justice League animated episode, and she's just been like so spunky and cool, and she got the staff and she got the cool like Captain America type like outfit, you know, and when you find out why and how she was created in the comic books, it will really touch your heart and soul, despite the creator being a complete like jerk and everything. But it's just a touching like way of how she was created. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.